This episode is brought to you by the Ultimate Girls Trip. Here is our reoccurring daydream. Us at a drool-worthy pool, surrounded by our business besties. We just finished a powerful exercise on building our dream lives and executing our business goals. Join us if you are ready to be celebrated for taking up space, to feel purposeful, and to live a life of fulfillment. Go to proofitspossible.com for more info. Welcome to Proof It's Possible. Jamie and I are multifaceted entrepreneurs, the founders of the Ultimate Girls Trip, and the hosts of Proof It's Possible. Jamie and I are also sisters, best friends, and complete opposites, but somehow we always manage to stay on the same team. Join us every week to hear our thoughts on all things entrepreneurship, friendship, family, pop culture, and more. Hey everybody, welcome back to Proof It's Possible. Today we are going to chat all about what is your value. Jamie, what do you think about this? Do you find it easy to like value yourself, or are you somebody that like struggled to get charging the right rates and valuing your time both personally and professionally? Like where do you stand on value?
It's different in different parts of my life. Like in my business, I'm pretty good at knowing my worth and my value and all of that. And I mean, it's been a learning curve over the years, but I felt like really settled in the fact that I know what my day rate is. And if you don't hire me, it's no big deal. I totally understand. You can find someone cheaper, but I'm, the best at what I do and whatever.
Yeah.
But in my personal life, I don't know. I'm not someone who has like great balance when it comes to like being a mother. And, like I'm not the kind of mom who's like, well, I've mothered you for the last 6 days. So on the 7th day, it's just a day all to myself. Nobody asked me for anything. And I'm going to be, like at the spa living my best life. And
right.
I don't. So like,
no judgment to those moms that have that kind of like
no judgment
boundary.
to those
Good
moms, but I haven't set my life up that way. So I do think that there's like a lot of times where it's like I'm last on the list in my personal life. Like I'm always last. I'm, like sleep deprived and all the things because I don't value myself as much as I value like, oh, what do my kids need in this moment? And if they need me to drive them to practice at 5:30 in the morning, well, then I'm driving them to practice. I'm not the kind of person who's like, well, you know what? It's my husband's turn because,
right.
Like I just get it done. So
yeah, you guys enrolled them in the sport. You guys have 3 kids, so there's 2 of you and 3 of them. So it's always somebody's turn. Everyone's always on a turn. So it's not even really like a situation where you could be like, we've got one child that we
alternate
turns. Yeah.
Every second weekend is my weekend. And I take the kids to the early morning things. No, it's every day.
And I mean, call me crazy here, but because I don't have kids, so I can't really like say how it works. But is any house really like, I did this one dish, so you're going to do
this I know
next
people.
dish?
Yeah,
really?
I definitely know people. Yeah, I know people that like they're on a schedule, and if it's an early morning practice or something, it's the parents
break
alternate.
them up.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, like good for them. Saturday to sleep in. It's my whatever. I'm like, you guys have a schedule? Holy moly! Okay.
Yeah, but the thing, realistically, you guys are soliciting extra help from grandma and grandpa to get the 3rd child to their early morning. So like, there's no room for extra days of sleeping in. Like,
no, but I feel like some people are way better at being like, no, I'm like, I know people that will get a hotel room once a month to like,
that's true,
recharge and whatever. And it's like, I'm just not that person. I can't even find the time to book a massage that I have a gift card for. Like I'm definitely last on the list when it comes to my family.
And like, does this make you mad, or are you fine with it?
I'm fine with it. I mean, there's times when I'm like, could I just watch my show without any interruptions? Please and thank you.
Totally.
I mean, my wants aren't big or grand. They're just
and the thing about you that I feel like is you aren't like resentful around this. Like, you have put your kids in these things. You do want them to have these experiences. I also feel like we've talked about this before, just personally, that that their season of like needing you guys is extremely short. So it feels like it's going by really slow right now because,
You're in it. I'm in
you're
it.
in it.
Yeah.
But the baby phase felt really hard and slow too. And that was only 2 years. And then they're a toddler. Like it goes by, the days are very long, but the years are super short. And next thing you know, they're going to be teenagers and they won't need you to come. And guess who's still going to show up to their early morning things?
Exactly.
You're not going to not. So,
Totally.
I don't know, but I totally hear what you're saying around like your value. And I'm the opposite. I feel like because I don't have kids, I have like a little bit more freedom to like book my lashes on a Sunday afternoon, and because I have nowhere else to be. So my like whole world is like, what do I want to do this weekend? What would be fun personally? But then in my business, I had a harder time like charging my worth because I am emotional. So I'm like, well, I wonder if these people, like I used to say this, I don't do it as much. I wonder if these people can afford my normal rate. I don't, I don't want to put them out financially. And like, I would give a lot more thought into just charging what I thought I should, not what my rate was, and worrying that they wouldn't hire me and that would be worse than getting paid less. And it's like, it took me a lot of years to get to the value point where I was like, no, my rate's my rate. I have to wait for clients that are actually able to pay me my rate and what I'm worth and for my expertise and all my years of service. I've built up this. This has been my investment in
A
myself.
lot of trust in yourself to do that though.
You do. You do.
Like, I don't know this person personally, but a friend of a friend type of a situation. She's a stylist and she charges $80,000 to style you. And I'm like
someone's clothes. They pick the
someone's clothes. $80,000. And I was like,
craziness to me.
Good for her for like holding the line. Like good for her for holding out that there's clients that are willing to pay that. If it was me and I didn't get the first like 5,000 clients that I offered that to, I'd be like, wow, I should probably lower my rates. But she didn't. And so when you hear of someone who does that and then eventually she does get like a full client list, I'm like, no shit. Like they had, good for you for just sticking it out and believing that you were worth it and attracting those like ideal clients to you. Because had it been me, I would have been like, okay, I got to drop my price until.
And my like financial scarcity would have had me going like, okay, I'm going to drop my rate. I'm $1,000 now.
100%.
It wouldn't have been a staircase where I went down to 60,000. I would have been like, you know what the average person can pay? $400. Okay, that's my offer. Okay, fine. Yes.
Totally. So like whenever I hear stories like that, I'm like, wow, that is so, I am not there yet. I am not at the point where I'm like, you know what? My ideal client wants to pay me $100K to do a quick little safety program that takes me a couple of hours. So like, I'm not there. And I always give credit to the people that do stay with it and stay believing in themselves that they are worth that value.
I also believe those people, they started on a staircase too. Whether that staircase started at $3,000 and then went up to 5 and then 10 and then 20 and then 50, like they were on a staircase too. They didn't come out of their like fashion degree and be like, I'm $80,000 for your package. You'll pay me that or you won't, but I'll live in a cardboard box until then. And they also have no money scarcity.
You think that, but then like the millennials that are coming out of school, they're like going to their first job interview and they're like, no, my salary expectations are $250K. No, I don't have a single day experience. Like it's crazy. Well,
I had a student say this to me. I speak at a college, like in my city every year, to a group of students in the interior design course or whatever. And one of the students' question to me was basically that there's nobody in the city that works for under $250 an hour. And like, if you understand like the design world, $250 an hour is fine if it's not a long project for a lot of people, but $250 an hour over several years adds up for the client. And so I was like, this is an interesting conversation because this student is thinking that they're going to be green, no experience, very likely make some big mistakes along the way within people's homes. And that's a huge budget hit as well. Sometimes. And they're going to come out at $250,000 an hour for a project that could take up to 2 years, 3 years, depending. And I'm like, okay, I don't know where you learned this. Fascinating to me. Like, I should have like stopped the student right then and there and been like, who told you that? Because I don't know that you're starting at $250 an hour. I think that you might be starting slightly less and you'll work up to that or even go past that, because people do charge more than that. That's not like this crazy number, but I don't think you get it on your first day of work.
I agree.
And I know that a lot of these students end up working for like a large builder to get their feet wet, and
where you're certainly not getting that.
No, you're going to probably get paid $50,000 a year or less. And that's okay, because you need to start somewhere, So I was like, I don't know if you're going to get a really bad piece of news here, or are you going to be my boss one day? Like, I don't know. Because if that person believes in it, that they're worth that right out of the gate and they won't work otherwise, then cool.
Do you have any ways to like do some checks and balances to make sure that you're keeping your value high in your business?
I think always be doing research on what your competitors are charging. Like, what is the industry standard? You need to know that. You need to know what people are charging. And like a Google search doesn't give you the right real-time answer for your actual city location. Cause like in my business, sometimes the price of stuff, in one city is one price, and the very next city 2 hours down the road is an entirely different price, because they're different markets, right? It's kind of like housing. So keeping afloat of what other people that are your level, your experience level, your education level are charging is a very good way to start. And so that you can either do by having friends in the industry, or, basically, like, if you hear of another, like a client being like, we got a quote from somebody else, you can say like, do you mind sharing it with me? If they're willing to do that, and you get to kind of get an inside scoop on, are you in the right place in the market?
I also feel like this is maybe like an old school mentality, but it's kind of like your house is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it.
Yes.
I feel like that in your business. If for 6 months you haven't gotten a client, your price is probably too high.
Exactly.
Or
like, you're not packaging it right, or something.
There could be a lot of other factors, but I just feel like, like, obviously there's other things. Are you marketing it well? Are your offers appropriate for what people are getting? Are you adding value to their business? Like, all of these things. But I think that even if you're doing everything right and people are still not buying, maybe your price is too high,
Yes.
So what maybe you need to touch on what value you're going to bring to their business. Maybe you need to do a better job at, like, maybe scaling back the services that you offer and giving them less value, but charging less, something that's more like appropriate for their appetite.
Sure. Well, and I noticed that in my business, that not everybody had the custom design budget. So I'm like, well, this is easy. I'm going to offer e-design, which means that basically I would give them what's called a design board with real-time links and like visuals on everything that they're going to put into their living room, let's say. And that is a significantly discounted price, because I'm not spending time in stores with them. I'm not coming to their house. I am giving them like an online option to work with me. So they're getting my high-end, 20 plus years of experience into a smaller package that they can go sit on the gray couch that I choose, or the beige couch, or the black couch. And they can be like, okay, we don't love that couch, but rather than have me tag along and be like, okay, what don't you love about it? Let's keep working together. Let's go to the next store. And the husband can find the couch that fits his height and he can sit on it. But they know what the couch needs to look like to carry on with the aesthetic. So if it was a black leather couch, they're going to look for another black leather couch. They just need to find the one that's comfortable for their family. And like, they keep in touch with me. They say like, hey, do you think this would be a good replacement? I write back, no, that's ugly. Or yes, that's great. Like, we keep in touch, but it's not my time hand holding them. And so I made an offer that fit that middle demographic, where they want to work with the designer, but they don't have the money to do the full design package, basically.
Do you have like any tips or tricks for somebody who's listening that doesn't know what their value is, to find what that sweet spot is?
Well, for me, I think you have to start before that. So you have to figure out where in the market do you fit. So if you're like fresh out of school, you don't have one house to show somebody because you've never actually designed anything yet. I think what you need to do is you need to be like, okay, if the range is this to this for what people get paid, you're obviously going to be on the lower end of the range. So that sets you up. But if that gives you like a bellyache, like your mind is like, "Ooh, that seems like too much," or that seems like whatever, you have to figure out like where, or if it feels like not enough, dig into like your own money story, because I do think like value and money are so tightly, like you were talking about how you don't make time for yourself and whatever, and that's one kind of value. But where I find for entrepreneurs where value shows up the most is in what they're willing to charge. So sometimes someone's value is really inflated and they think they deserve way more, and that's what we were just talking about. And you were saying that basically you have to like go, okay, I haven't got a client in 6 months or a year. I think I'm charging too much, and then pivot and reevaluate, whether that's offering a lower cost service that doesn't take you as much time, whatever. Or you have to go, why am I afraid to make my prices a little bit higher to match industry standard? Because a lot of us are more likely to go too low, especially if we're new at something, and be like, I just want to get customers. I just want to get clients. And you're like giving away something for $1,000 that everybody else is selling for $3,000. So it's like,
Well, yes.
What is the story in your brain about that?
The other thing is that sometimes you need to get an outside opinion. Like as an entrepreneur, you're often doing it alone, but I feel like you don't know if you're adding value if you haven't asked some people that are in your target audience. Like,
absolutely.
Even if they're not potential buyers, if they're in the right age range, financial demographic, like whatever it is that you're trying to sell them, if they could potentially be your ideal client, have you canvass them to be like, would you pay this? What do you like about my offer? What don't you like about my offer? So it kind of goes back to that like networking piece, getting in rooms, asking people's opinions, like learning about people, all of that, because collaboration when you're an entrepreneur is the key to everything. So
it is. It really is. And having like a community of people that you can be like, hey guys, would you buy this offer for this much? And if people are like, you know what, I personally wouldn't, because interior design in my house is not that important to me.
Yeah.
But then the other 5 girls in your group are like, I absolutely would, because I would love to have a great house. I actually think you could charge a little bit more. I would pay more. So these are not necessarily people that are going to buy from you, but they're people that could match your demographic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And so understanding your money story will help you understand why you have any blocks with your value and charging your value, or why you feel like you're, worth 10 times what people will pay. And then you have to figure that out, as well, because they're both two extremes, right? And understanding value. And like, I think it's something we all, new level, new devil. So the minute you're starting something new, doing a new business, you start completely over with your value piece, and you have to be like, okay, why am I trying to undercut myself here? Other people are, selling this template for $99 and I'm only selling it for $2.99.
Yeah. Why? People err on the undercutting themselves more so than the over.
I agree with that.
In my opinion, but
especially new business owners, because they just want to get started. Yeah. And honestly, there is a learning period. Like when I started public speaking, I did it for free. And now I don't, so it is very rare that I will speak for free. And it's because it's too much work. It's too much preparation. I usually have to modify my speech. It just takes too much time out of my money making hours to do it for free. And I don't, I can't commit to something that doesn't make me money.
Totally.
Yeah. But at the beginning, I needed to learn, and I needed to get a speech, and I needed to do some practice. So it was totally worth it for me to do it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. We hope that you value yourself. We hope that if you're not valuing yourself, you find the right people to canvas, and you do some of these steps that we have given you, because to go to work and not make any money doesn't make any sense.
No.
Whether you're charging too much and not getting clients, or whether you're charging so little that you're getting paid pennies on the hour.
Yeah. Or how you feel. Like, how do you feel about yourself at the end of your workday? So that's part of your value as well.
Exactly.
Anyways, I really do hope you are valuing yourself. And thank you so much for listening. We will chat next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. We are so grateful you're here.
It would mean the world to us if you'll subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel and leave us a review.
If you want to hear more from us, go to proofitspossible.com to join our mailing list and find our social links so you don't miss a thing.
Thanks, and chat next time.